Well, good evening. The table is kind of messed up, I guess is the best way to put it. This may be another long video because something happened today that made me really happy. And now, once again, of course, um, I'm looking at the space here. Oh, I'm lucky. Okay, hang on. Uh, all right, I had to go out and buy a sumi brush because I couldn't find my sumi brush. And this is a sumi brush. These are absolutely wonderful. They've been a part of Asian art for centuries, and they're just beautiful. What I have is I have here some ink, right, and this brush, which has never been used. I don't think it's ever been used. Over here, we have a comic. Now, let's get this other clutter out of the way. Put this here for a second. This comic, this poor beat-up comic, would be worth a bunch of money if I had treated it so badly. Over the years, I used this for scrap, and I drew from this comic. I bought it back when I was trying to get picked up by Marvel Comics. I bought this and a bunch of other comics, and I just got lucky. I went down to the little store that was near where I was living and bought a bunch of comics. This is X-Men #1, $1.50, believe it or not. Drawn by Jim Lee. And Jim Lee is one heck of a comic artist. He's not, I'd have to say I respect him tremendously, but he's not one of my favorites because everything he draws is angry and flat. He uses a great deal of foreshortening, but if you look through here, everybody is they're angry. Everyone's angry. Angry, angry, angry. Or, where's the other emotion? There's angry, excuse me, and every now and then, well, I can't find it when I'm looking for it, right? Anger, anger, anger everywhere. But this is one heck of a comic. Oh, dismay, kind of worried dismay. Worried, dismay, and angry. It's my personal opinion that there's been just too much of this kind of stuff in what we call popular media. But that's another something to talk about, I guess. The whole idea that we're angry all the time, and then it goes into the video games and everything else. But this guy has something going for him. You see it in these two figures. This is Wolverine, and this is, I don't know who this is. I forgot who that is. Anyway, extremely well drawn. Amazingly well drawn. We're going to kind of rip him off, I guess, Jim Lee, and combine him with this Euro style that I sort of have going for some of the comics that we're doing. So I'm going to create, let's just do this really quick. I need to get this brush in shape. And my hope is, I don't know, these brushes have a lot of personality, and I really like them. And you'll see why in a second this will cooperate. I hope they didn't put wax in this. There, it's kind of breaking up, okay? Maybe there was just a little bit of glycerin or something in there, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's really nice. And what's really cool about these brushes, we'll do this really quick. Oh, let's shake this up just in case. Okay, what's cool about these brushes? There are people who are what we could call masters of the sumi brush. You're supposed to draw like this, like da-da, right. That's a Japanese, Chinese character. No, it's not. But it could be, oh, I missed. See, you'd be really accurate. We will be by the time we're done with this, right? In a few months will be great. I haven't used one of these in a long time. Okay. These brushes draw from kind of fine, maybe like that, to a line like that, really easily. I mean, that's really cool. And the other part that's great about these brushes is that the ink dries extremely quickly. So if you do get somewhat disciplined with them, you can pretend, as long as, like for instance with me, I will pretend that I'm good with this thing, you know. What I am good with is something I'll show you right here really quick. Let's see, let's create a place for the brushes to go where they don't mess things up, right? Right there, maybe for a second. So I'll create another one of these really fast. The ink dries quickly, but I'm going to probably have to introduce photo editing to have some of the real effects I want to do with these end up in one video. The drying time for the ink is about maybe 10 minutes. It's sort of a hot summer night, but not really. Okay, so here's where I'm going to be kind of doing things. I'll just pretend I'm going to draw this figure really quick. This is like terrible. Okay. This is kind of where I'm going. Now, I have a comic story, right? That I'm a big fan of Marvel. But what I'm really a big fan of is I'm a fan of Jack Kirby. And I like, oh, how would we put it? Stan Lee and him when they were doing things a long time ago. And Jack Buscema as well. For some of his stuff that was inspired, I guess, by Kirby, that ran through Thor, right? But then if you remember when I was talking about this is about as angry as I want to get. This guy he's standing here and he made a fist, right? He made a fist. Okay. And I haven't given him a hairstyle. So we'll give him this as his hairstyle. And I'm not certain what I'm going to do with eyes, really, in some of the things I'm doing. Okay, so that's a face. Now, I'm going to come back through here really quick. And with this regular pen, kind of create what amounts to, we'll create this guy, right? Now he's slightly angry, right? He's about to hit somebody with his fist right here. But you can see that I'm in nowhere, like this is not as intense as Mr. Jim Lee, who is an exceptional artist. He invented so many cool little effects. He did incredible graphic art for some of the stuff that he was doing. Okay, so that's Mr. Kapow. Here's Mr. Kapow. Okay. Now, Mr. Kapow has a force field around him. Kapow! It's Mr. Kapow. I don't know what his superpower is, except that he looks kind of cartoony. Mr. Kapow. Okay, great. Now, I haven't used one of these in a while, but here, let me show you what makes this kind of cool. We're going to add, for instance, a little bit of shading to this guy really quick, right? And maybe this will be good enough for now for the video thing. I'll do another video. I'll hunt down some of the stuff I'm after. Now you see how this line technique where you kind of follow the contour of what should be happening, right? Hey, Mr. Kapow. Hey, Mr. Kapow. This is kind of a quick way to make things look like they have some kind of texture going on. Here's a nail. We'll put a nail on his hand. He's well tanned, maybe. Well tanned fellow. Or maybe he's a African American or not white. Well tanned. It's really interesting when we get into coming up with races and other things for cartoon characters. So let's just say, there he is. Mr. Kapow. Okay. Whatever he is, he's basically covered with lines. Now, if I had the time, I would show another effect in this video, but I don't have the time. Well, I have the time, but where I don't have the time is where the drying time, okay? Mr. Kapow. Okay, so let's make sure that he is in the video, right? Mr. Kapow, are you in the video? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Okay, we'll do this, and we'll do this. Right. So, he'll create himself. We'll figure out, his personality will figure itself out as time goes by. I'm really amazed where the characters end up being after a while. What we're showing here is how to control the brush and end up with personality. Right? And I got kind of a big brush because, quite frankly, I am not trying to be ultra refined in these videos. I'm practicing, for one thing. If I get really good with this big brush again, that would be kind of great. Okay. So, notice how these things are figuring themselves out. So that's what the brush does. Okay. The fingers are too short. Okay. This will add up to a really cool style in about a month or so. With the brand, you can kind of see. The video does me a few favors every now and then. It takes these lines that are a little too light and makes them darker. Just adding thicks and thins to this is really kind of cool. I kind of like this guy. I still haven't figured out where the hell is Mr. Kapow from? Does he have a nationality? He's a mystery character. Okay, and so now, here is what makes, here's the winner about all of this. Notice how this line has tremendous personality, right? Tremendous personality. That's cool. And we're going to do some things with this kind of thing in some future videos. Okay, now, the effect that I was going to show off is it, but I won't because the ink is not going to dry quickly enough. It's when you draw white through here against these black lines. I may set up some drawings to show that off down the road. But for right now, the only white accent line, I'll create it around here like so. Okay. And we'll do that here. You can see that I'm somewhat competent with this brush. I'm not great, but you know, at least I can. Teachers are like that, you know. I call myself a teacher. Teachers are. You're lucky if you get a teacher who's like, well, he's competent. He's not like incompetent. You know, he actually could use the brush. He showed us how to do that, sort of. You know. Well, great. But what I'm showing is how the marker drawings gain a great deal of personality. Now, as I pull my vocabulary together, I will probably get myself some smaller brushes, but this is how to practice, is make this line like super fine and have it get really wide, you know. So I'm practicing while I'm doing this. I'm way out of shape. Okay, now, this is how quickly you can ink in areas. See that? You want some black? Shoot, we're done. All done. Wow. Be careful. But that's 10 times as fast as inking with a marker. You know? And I'm going to show you some ways to just do absolutely fantastic fun things with black and white art in some of these how-to videos, okay? So Mr. Kapow doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad at all. Oh, yeah. Do we cover all the bases? No, we want to have this. Okay. I don't know, maybe he's related to the Hulk. It's kind of a Hulk thing that he's doing there. Okie dokie. Now, there's lots of things to play with here, but what we're doing now is, at least I showed you this much, and we'll put the drawing to here, so we'll see what happens when Dave tries to letter with the sumi brush. All we're looking for is, you know, it will be about a month till this pulls together. You notice if you keep steady with what you're doing, the style will kind of find itself, right? That's why the hand lettered stuff that you see in comics, it looks so cool. They do all that stuff with brushes, or they used to once upon a time. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at that and see what we see. Not bad. Okay. Kind of center it in the frame. Oh. Okay, so that was our first sumi brush. Get reacquainted with the the medium kind of thing. And the next video we'll do something with the Jim Lee artwork because we're trying to keep these down. And this got to 20 minutes. Damn it. Okay, that's good enough. Thank you very much.